Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Scumdogs Kennel. I'm your host, Chris Williams, and I have another great show planned for us. Tonight, we're going to be looking at real alien and UFO encounters and stuff. But first, let me show off some artwork from my own upcoming graphic novel, Scumdogs. So just give me a moment right here. Just a moment, folks. Just a moment. All right. Let me go to share screen, and then we're going to go see. Here is my extreme 90s cover. This cover I did harken back to the comic books of the 90s. It looks pretty good. It has almost all of my characters on it. You'll see in my graphic novel Scumdogs. Scumdogs is a parody comic book where I parody cartoons from the back in the 80s and 90s and stuff. You'll see characters that'll remind you of stuff you loved when you were young. Now, my two main stars are Death Mug and Buick Starpoon. Death Mug is the purple guy with the metal mask, while Buick Starpoon is the guy with the pink pompadour hair. Death Mug is a parody of various villains from 80s cartoons. He's the leader of the Scumdogs. The Scumdogs are former pro athletes who competed in the Scumdog sports, sporting events held with superhuman monsters as the pro athletes and stuff. Right there. See, they traded in their humanity to become superhumanly powerful monsters, so they're called scum and dogs for it. They did all that just for fame and fortune, so not exactly the nicest guys around. But what happens when they get banned from sports? The scum dogs decide to take over the world. Death Mug is an arrogant dictator who wants to rule the world, while his archenemy Buick Starpoon, the guy with the pink pompadour hair, who's basically him and the rest of his team are G.I. Joe parodies, but also parodies of space opera hero characters, like Buick Starpoon is. Yeah, let's see. Buick Starpoon is basically and stuff like that. Now, Death Mug, you'll see, looks like various villains from 80s cartoons. It's like Skeletor from He-Man, he's got a skull face, but like the villains of G.I. Joe, the leaders of Cobra, like Cobra Commander, he's got a metal mask. Like Serpentor's got gold on him. He's purple, like the Shredder from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. While Buick Starpoon, he's basically a parody of Duke from G.I. Joe, but also the space opera hero kind of characters like Zap Brannigan, Captain Kirk from Star Trek, Buzz Lightyear or Buck Rogers, those kinds of heroes. If you notice his uniform, anyone wearing a similar uniform to him is part of his team in the Space Forces. Over here, this guy with the mohawk, his name is Roadhog. His military specialty, because he's a G.I. Joe parody, is that he's an army guy. Then you have this bald guy with a gun down here whose name is Beach Pounder in the blue uniform. He's a Marine. That's what he used to be, a Marine. Then you have this guy back here in the red uniform. His name is Blast Tank. His military specialty is that he's a heavy vehicle specialist, a tanker. Now, this cover is one of 3 different variant covers you'll be able to back when my Indiegogo goes live, so that's good as well. Looks nice, huh? Here we have Girl Friday. Girl Friday is another member of the Wild Rangers. That's the name of Buick Starpoon's team in the Space Forces. She was assigned as Buick Starpoon's second in command because while the Wild Rangers fight the Scumdogs and save the universe, they're just highly destructive idiots whose idea of saving a town is by basically destroying it and blowing it up. So they assigned Girl Friday, her superiors assigned Girl Friday to Buick Starpoon's team to basically babysit him. Well, to be basically Buick Starpoon's second in command. Now, she hates Buick Starpoon. She hates her job because she thinks her career in the military is over because she's now just a babysitter. So come read about her in my graphic novel. By the way, folks, hit that like button for me. It helps me fight. Yeah, please hit that like button for me. It helps me fight the algorithm as well as so more people can see my content in my graphic novel Scumdogs comes out to you all the sooner, as well as please hit that bell and hit the bell for all future notifications, and please go share this video on Twitter and Facebook. Here we have Death Mug's henchmen. You know, because all 80s cartoons would have henchmen, and they'd be total idiots. And these are my idiots. The blue guy with the the pink guy down here is Sloppy, and the blue guy up here with the top hat is Murdermouth. They're a parody of every henchman from an 80s cartoon. They do what Death Mug says, but they keep screwing up. But they're going to be fun to read about. Right here we have Hair Metal Doctor. He's another member of the Scumdogs, but instead of but he's basically a parody of Dr. Mindbender from G.I. Joe. But unlike Dr. Mindbender, my character is not only who's a mad scientist. My mad scientist is also crossed over with a hair metal musician. He rocks out, but also doing mad science. He thinks of all the stuff the Scumdogs use to try and take over the universe. That's hair metal. That's my doctor here. Here we have Miss Breasty Melons, who's basically a parody of the Baroness from G.I. Joe. But unlike the Baroness, she only became she's basically Miss Breasty Melons is a parody of the Baroness from G.I. Joe. But unlike the Baroness, she only became a villain for fun. She's only doing this to have fun. Now, the hair metal doctor pinup and the Miss Breasty Melons pinup will be included with other pinups in my graphic novel when you back it on Indiegogo. It's not up on Indiegogo. Scumdogs is not up on Indiegogo yet, folks. I'm working on the book every day, but when it's out, go and back it. So we have that there. Let me exit out of these. And we'll move on and we'll look at some alien encounters and having some fun. Let me see here. Ooh, 2 likes already. Now, I'm doing this mostly because, this right here. Navy pilot reveals how he came up with a tic-tac for the UFO he saw and more. We'll be looking at this article first. And we'll look at some other alien encounters. But feel free to leave me a few chats, folks, because I want to hear from you guys, okay? But, before we do that, maybe I should go to Indiegogo real quick and check out what's up on there. John Malins apparently has a new campaign out, but Alien Alamos made 90,556. That's good. That's good. Let's see. What other stuff? Cyber Frog's first wave action figures has made $361 and $40 with 4 days left. It's nearly fully funded, folks. It's just going to make more and more money by the time it reaches then it's got another 30 days and we'll be able to really see some fun with this series. Let's see. There's stuff to look at. Let me go over here. Oops. Stomp 2. Well, I wanted to do this first. Godlike, the Romulus Saga. 30 days left. This is John Malin's new campaign. 10,000 years from now, 10,000 years, galactic wars have ended and a new dark age has begun. Godlike. Yeah, everything I loved about magic, the magic, Saturday mornings, comic books, anime, and cinema. Best described as Star Wars meets John Carter. Yeah. All hope humanity is gone, or we thought John Malin, Jawbreaker's graveyard shift returns to reinvigorate the American superhero. Groundbreaking Sean Javis. Synopsis: in the far future, dark age is upon us. One man must remember his past to save the last of humanity on a dying world. Where magic and super science are one, haunted by visions of a bygone age and mythical world known as Earth, pursued by superpowered alien race and their traitorous human acolytes. Kill a god. Our champion must risk everything to harness the power of the Romulus, a legend from the distant past, and become godlike and save people. Looks good. Look at here's artwork from inside of it. Wow, that's beautiful. All right. Yeah. Godlike. Yeah. I like what I'm seeing here. Woo, look at that artwork. Beautiful. Now you can back this book for $25. Let's see here. Godlike. Visions 220. Godlike supplemental. Godlike Volume 1, $25. And stuff like that. Let's see. Godlike the Romulus Saga, 48 full color pages. John Malin. Not bad. Visions. Let's see. There's other books as well. Godlike Supplemental, Volume 1, We Dwell. Von Klaus, Monster MD. Graveyard Shift bring you two-fisted tales of the Romulus, 24 pages each by art by Shelby. All right. And Visions 2. Virgin. Various artists, each artist will draw their own femme fatale protagonists from their respective projects in a sexy pinup. You discover a new world of Talon characters. Oh, well, that's great for me as well. Yes. I have some artwork I'd love to show off there. Maybe I could get it in his book. Thing is, let's see. Looks good. Looks good. Very good. We could look at this. It's made $58,252 with 30 days left. It's been fully funded. That's good. That's very good. Go check out various Comicsgate books on Indiegogo. Chrono Mechanics is doing well. First Wave Cyber Frog action figures. Yeah, not bad. Undead Border Escape Die Second Chance. Not bad. Let's see. Earthbound. Let's see. Friar Bitch 2 has made 62,167. That's also good. All of this looks great. These look very good. Now, folks, let's go look at some aliens. Let's talk about a video interview with the Navy pilot who coined the term named Tic Tac for the UFO he saw one off the coast of San Diego in 2004 has finally been released in its entirety, and it reveals why he picked that name and much more. The pilot is Commander Chad Underwood. Interviewees, documentary filmmaker Corbel here, Jeremy here, who had been slowly revealing videos he had found through his own efforts and with the help of government insiders since the story broke back back a few years ago. The 25-minute video was well worth watching in its entirety. See it here. But here are a few more of the more interesting highlights if you need convincing. Yeah. Remember that video back in 2017? Then let's see. Then Lieutenant Underwood's FA-18 Super Hornet was in the air with Black Aces officer named David Favreau, who has become the face of the pilots of reporting the encounter due to his many media appearances. However, Underwood's plane was the one that took the famous flare forward-looking infrared video. Actually, we now know there was also. Oh, by the way, folks, please leave me a few chats. I want to hear your idea about these alien encounters we're going to be looking at. There was also an 8mm radar video taken in, but Underwood reveals that it probably won't be seen by the public. No, and they're probably not going to see it for a long time. Oh, by the way, folks, sorry about another late stream, but hey, if you're up late and it's Saturday morning, feel free to check into the Scumdogs Kindle and have some fun. We're talking about aliens and UFOs tonight. I know having some more fun. We did one UFOs and aliens yesterday, talking about if they were demons or not, or something like that. But tonight we're going to be talking about various encounters with aliens tonight and stuff. And UFOs. So sit back, have some fun, and feel free to watch the Scumdogs Kindle, folks. We're having some fun tonight. Let's see. Just checking here. If you have not hit that like button, folks, just please do so. It really helps me fight the algorithm. Let's get back to this article. No, they're probably not going to see it for a long time because the radar tape there's two types of sensors that we record on the aircraft: active sensors and passive sensors. The flare is a passive sensor, and the radar, however, is what we call an active sensor. So it's shooting emissions out and receiving data. And an active sensor can be exploited by our enemies if they can see the data that's on that screen. That's disappointing because Underwood says the active radar recorder would show his initial contact to the UAP. Speaking of contact, Underwood also gives more details on the report that his radar was, not working. That would be an act of war, yet there was no military response to it, leading some to believe Underwood was mistaken. The other thing is there was no jamming. I was not consulted for that report. I have been interviewed 1 to 10% of 1% from the government, as I have from yourself. I did get jamming cues on my radar tape, and you can see cues of jamming on both your radar and your flare tape. Jamming on both your radar and your flare tape, when the commander described on your flare tape, when you see like 99.9 range to target, that means you're being jammed. Of course, the best part, the video, is Underwood's explanation for how he came up with the Tic Tac description. He was talking about the encounter to other personnel in the USS Nimitz after landing. Said he looked like a Tic Tac. All right. And so we popped the tapes, and they were like, what would you describe this as? And my thoughts going through my head were the scene from Airplane where porters are asking that guy, Johnny, one of the ground controls, can you describe this plane? And he it's a big white shiny plane with wheels, and it looks like a big Tylenol. And I knew if I described it as a big Tylenol, that's too much not taking it seriously. And anyone who knows me, I didn't take a whole lot of things seriously, but I was like, I probably shouldn't say that. It's just too on the nose. And so I was like, it looks like a big Tic Tac, and it did just kind of this white oblong featureless thing. Looks like a Tic Tac. And it just kind of became the name for it. For the next few days, little did I know that 17 years ago, it would still be a thing. The interview gets serious. Underwood gives a minute by the minute account of what he saw and the actions he took. The conversations had with the on-ship personnel and the unbelievable actions of the Tic Tac. His radar, the flare, should have been able to track it, but it didn't. And so once it shut off to the left, immediately aggressively maneuvering my fire to the left to try and to acquire it, and it moved with a velocity that I've not seen. I should be able to reacquire that aircraft or whatever it was. And that's just, I mean, we're talking 80 million fighter, you know. He saw no exhaust or heat. And to my estimation at this point, is that it was about 10 to 15 miles off my nose. I should be able to see an exhaust plume on my flare. You should be able to see that heat. I should be able to tell that it's an aircraft. It's got wings. I should be able to tell that what type of aircraft it is. I should be able to know what. And I wasn't seeing any of that. Underwood was also makes an interesting observation about the possibility that the UAP was our own secret technology, a black project. Yeah, something we were doing. What happens is when you're the intelligence center at CIVIC, you describe what you saw. They describe what you've. Let's see what this. Let's see what you've seen, and they make you sign a non-disclosure agreement or an NDA, and they say that this is the project's name. They don't describe what it is or what it does, or anything like what it does, what it actually. It's just you shall not speak of this again. And I gotta say that's actually annoying. That didn't happen with Underwood or Favreau, so he feels was not ours, especially since it would have been had to have been kept secret 17 years. So what was it? I have no idea. It was just this weird thing that I should normally be able to identify with characteristics. Yeah, it had no flight characteristics, a method of lift, propulsion, like that, and it was a range where I should be able to distinguish flight characteristics that just didn't. Yeah, that didn't happen. Aliens, you see for yourself what Commander Underwood thinks of that question. Video or read the transcript of Mystery Wire. Kudos, as always, to Commander Chad Underwood for continuing to address the famous still unexplained sightings. To Jeremy Kerbal with his uncanny ability to tame the videos and other stuff. Not bad. What do you think about that, folks? We've read that article about the famous Tic Tac thing. We've covered this we've covered various stories like this before, but I figured I'd cover this one because it's very interesting. All right. Let's go over here. I have another article. Let's see this. Let's see. Here's how this article talks about how aliens about humanoid aliens and if they're on Earth or not. There are a few encounters people have had with them as well. Now let's get into it. But feel free to leave me a few chats, folks. I want to hear your ideas on this and stuff. If you would do or not or anything like that. So feel free to do so. In fact, maybe I should try to get Dillard Draws on. Let's see if I can't get him on here because maybe he would. See. We'll check back in a moment. See if he wants to come on. See if he wants to talk about this stuff, folks. Yeah, right. If there's one thing you can say about aliens, it's that most of them don't really look like us. Okay, there's the head, the torso, the arms, and the legs, but largely that's where things come to an end. Example, the small grays have huge heads, large black eyes, and emaciated bodies. Reptilians are hardly human-looking. The lesser-known hairy dwarfs and the flatwood monsters of 52 were nowhere near human-like. That said, however, there are a number of reports of non-human entities that look almost identical to us. There's no doubt this applies chiefly to the Space Brothers, Space Sisters of the 1950s. They were encountered usually in desert locations or near west coasts of the United States. The females were practically identical to us. The males too. This is apart from their 1980s era style heavy metal band hair. They had fun and memorable names such as Rondola in the Fourth Dynasty, Zoltron, Villa, Ming of Tar, and Numa of Unj, much better than Nameless Greys, right? Right. Then there was the Aurora Range, the ultimate alien uber babe of the 50s, and a proud citizen of the planet Clarion, which, by the way, was never been found until its death in 1960. Well, death in 69. Contactee, the guy, Death Truman Bothram, was totally entranced by Captain Range. There are, however, other aliens that look just like us who can pass for us on the streets of the malls of the Friday night game. Whether or not they bet on the game, I don't know. Let's see. Giant Rock, California, where human-looking ETs with stupid but fun names loved to hang out in the 1950s. Nick Ruffrun had friends who fully believed that black-eyed children are aliens. Personally, though, I don't think that is what we call in the UK complete and utter bollocks. In my view, the BEC are something supernatural. Black-eyed children are something supernatural rather than extraterrestrial. I have to admit, however, that those strange black eyes and the pale, sickly-looking faces do suggest that BEC just might be ETs. Give them some human-like contact lenses, and yes, they certainly could pass for us. Just maybe now, let's take a trip to a store. UFO Authority and author Dana Stoner told me that following at least 3 miles here in Florida, at a particular combination of health and grocery restaurant, I have been observed by a strange character. This is a good place to bend, as many folks who stop here and are odd characters to begin with, or hippie-like, gone back to nature type. So the person who has observed me is wearing a gauzy outfit, thin hair, woven straw Panama type hat, sunglasses, fits right in. Denise continued. Here we is front of the first encounters. Now, these aliens might actually be humans, but you get the idea. Is everyone we pass every day on the street a human? Pass on the street or pass in our cars. Are they actually human? They look human, but are they actually human? I don't want to basically make you hate everybody, but hey, how many people are actually? How do we know are actually human and not just an alien who just looks like a human, or maybe is human but is actually from outer space, folks? We'll be talking more stories like this for a few minutes. Let's get back to this. His skin, his hair, and clothing are almost the same beige color. The difference is he has a drink in front of him. Notebook stares at me the whole time as we eat at a table on the sidewalk. He never has food on his own, nor does he touch the drink. It seems he knows when we are almost finished, and eating, he gets up, walks slowly past our table, rounds the corner that is clearly visible but must pass a pillar on the corner of the shopping plaza by our table. Once he gets behind that pillar, he never comes out the other side. There's literally nowhere for him to go but on the other side, then down the sidewalk or out by the parking lot. But no, he is gone. I cannot get up to follow him, thinking I am going to bump into him on the other side of the pillar. He lets me know in no uncertain terms that he is watching me or letting me know where he is. All right. Here's Captain Aura Range, a picture of her. Not bad. For his book selected by extraterrestrials, William Tompkins wrote the time was 1:30 p.m. was an afternoon, late 2010. The location was an exclusive neighborhood in Oceanside, California. I needed some things from our local store. Walking fairly close to the rear entrance, I spotted an expensively dressed, tall, blonde vision that immediately reminded me of the first day I met Jessica, Nordic alien. She stopped and turned, facing me with a sincere, deep, penetrating look. This vision said, "My father is several levels above, 32 Mason, and I'm going to help you with your book." We talked for minutes and stuff like that. Outside of the door, she gave me her phone number and said, "Meet me tomorrow in the coffee lounge at 1:30. Obviously, I was extremely impressed, totally confused about her remarks because I never met her, didn't know who she was. How could she have known I was writing a book? And what did anything have to do with the subject matter in my book? Don't ask me, I'm just the messenger." There's no doubt whatsoever this story is a bizarre one. How could it not be when supermarket UFOs and aliens become integral parts of it all? Aliens that look so much like us they can wander the aisles, get stuck in the checkout lines for 20 minutes, just like me and you. Choose the shopping cart with the effed up front wheel and not be outed for what they really are. Now that's impressive. Yeah, they're not bad, huh? What do you think about those stories, huh? We could go and look at, we've talked about Aura Reigns before. The hot alien babe who was maybe about 4 foot something or 4'5", 4'9" or 4'5", and stuff like that. We could talk about her as well, but we have a few more articles we can look as well. Let me go this way and look at various other stories. Various alien encounters and stuff like that. Let me go over here. 2 hikers blackout experienced lost time in Jefferson National Forest. Here's something where we have lost time. Did these guys encounter aliens or what? They certainly do have, they don't remember, and they just certainly don't know what's going on. Let's see. My partner and I, avid hikers, on July, we went on a trip and decided to camp out in the spot we love just west of the Sendora National Forest. It's quiet, off the beaten path, and offers absolutely spectacular views of both Sendora and portions of George Washington National Forest off the west. Yeah. The first day and evening of the trip itself were nice and uneventful, though we didn't sleep super well because of the humidity. The next morning, we decided to go for a hike in portion of Jefferson National Forest we'd never been to before. It's comprised of ATV trails and about a dozen campsites, but has a trail that leads to an old fire tower we'd always wanted to check out. It was about 45 minutes drive from our campsite, mostly on the backwoods. Let's see about this. Oh, it doesn't look like Dillard wants to come on. It doesn't. It's like that. Just so I go check that out. Now, folks, let's go look at a few. Let's go finish the story about this story here. The first day, like that. When we got there, the first thing that struck us, was how empty the campsites were. We actually didn't camp there that night before because we'd heard that the site is usually packed, and we knew that we wouldn't arrive early enough on the weekend to get a spot. There were only 2 spots taken in. One was a desiccated tent and a bunch of garbage. It looked like someone had been there for a while, but it was deserted when we arrived. In the other, there was a young woman, I'm guessing in her late teens, setting up a small backpacking tent. There was a truck and one other similar car in the parking area. We parked and started gathering our gear together, and the woman approached us to ask if we knew where the trailhead was. I told her that we'd read that it branched off about 100 yards into one of the ATV tracks, but we weren't 100% sure. Since I was getting such weird vibes from the place, I kind of hoped she'd stick around and go with us to find it, but she just thanked us and took off in the general direction of the trail. We set off and walked up and down a few of the ATV trails until we found the walking path. We saw 2 ATVs shoot by us, and at one point, otherwise didn't encounter anyone else, including the woman from earlier. It took us about an hour to get to the top of the mountain there when the fire tower was. It's an old metal structure, and you have to climb a narrow set of stairs to get to the top of it. We got up, looked around, took some pictures, and started heading down. Honestly, the view was kind of a letdown. Okay, folks, what do you think about this? These guys were basically going to encounter something very strange, but basically everything appears normal. But they did feel weird about it. They felt, well, at least they felt the trail was weird and stuff. But here we're going to a thing where they're basically now about to encounter something. So let's get into this article and see read this article. Let's see where the weirdness is, huh? Yeah, let's see what they encountered that's so weird. About halfway down, very suddenly, everything stopped. The birds and the bugs. It was dead silent, and I didn't know quite how to put this into words, but it felt like the ancientness of the forest was contorting and crushing us. I felt trapped and cornered, Spite of the expanse around us, my partner and I looked at each other and wordlessly started to book it out of there. Yeah, wordlessly started to book it out of there. We started running back to the car, but the feeling only followed us. As we were rounding one of the switchbacks, we heard this unearthly shriek, like a cross between a metal on metal and a choir screaming off key, and we saw something. I just got a glimpse of it before we blacked out. I don't know how to describe it other than it looked like huge, despite clearly not taking up much physical space, and it moved in whiffs and flashes. It didn't have a color. It just felt like evil and emptiness. Probably only perceived it for half a second before my memory just completely gave out. When we came to, we were sitting in the car and 2 hours had passed, double the length of time it took us to get up there. I don't know if we lost. So what do you think they encountered, folks? Sounds like they encountered something very strange as well. Don't know if it's an alien or not, but hell, I put it in my video here because it does sound like something they didn't, like an alien and stuff like that. Or it could be an ultra-terrestrial or something like that as well. Either way, it does feel like they encountered something strange. Let's get back to this article. When we came to, we were sitting in the car and 2 hours had passed, double the length of time it took for us to get there. I don't know if we lost consciousness, just somehow blocked those hours out. I learned later this exact same thing happened to my partner. Both of the cars were next to us in the parking lot, and there were still just the two tents at the campsite. The woman wasn't in hers, and it looked exactly the same as she left it. I think about her all the time and have spent a ton of time trying to figure out if someone went missing around the time of our trip. It took a few months for my partner and I to talk about that day. We still love to hike, but honestly haven't been able to in the Appalachian forest since this happened. I'm curious if others have had experiences. Interesting, huh? Very, very interesting. Let me go down here. Heroin, not deer encounter near Charlottesville, Virginia. Now, here's another not deer encounter. As I said before, I've said that various cryptids could be aliens, and yes, these are not deer. They look like deer, but they're not deer. But they could very well be aliens in disguise as well. So we will be looking at this article as well and wondering what they actually are. Let's see. A college student describes his harrowing experience with a huge not deer, an area outside of Charlottesville, Virginia. Charlottesville. Is this a manifestation of a forest spirit? Force of a forest? Huh? Maybe, or it could be an alien. This took place in 2008 in Charlottesville, Virginia. Now, if you are familiar with Charlottesville, it's outside city limits of the country near Old Lynchburg Road. Before all those students' apartments were completed, at the time I lived in Fry Springs and Sesson in townhouse. My roommate was using my vehicle, and I was in my friend's and the country's house. So I decided to walk to the corner store to get some smokes. If you follow the trail in the backyard, it's a beautiful walk and a little quicker than driving around the windy roads. By the way, folks, hit that like button for me. It really helps me with the algorithm. So the more people that see my content and stuff like that, it means my graphic novel Scum Dogs comes out to you all the sooner, as well as hit that bell and hit the part of the bell that gives you all future notifications. And please go share this video on Twitter and Facebook. Let's get back to this article, but first, let me go over here to see if you guys have hit that like button yet. Not bad. All right there. Dillard wants to come. Dillard hasn't responded either. Let's get back to my over to the here. Let's see, like that. Let's get back to this article. It's a beautiful walk. If you follow the trail in the backyard, it's a beautiful walk and a little quicker than driving around the windy roads. It wasn't dark yet, but the sun was going down and it was cooling off into a beautiful evening. So I asked my friend Jay if they want to anything and head off to the trail that brings you out behind the country store. At first, we walked down the trail and it was just like any other. There were birds chirping and animal noises, a nice breeze. When I got to the split in the trail, for some reason I began to feel really uneasy. My hair was standing on end. I felt like I was being watched, and I felt like that heavy feeling in my stomach. But I walked this trail many times, and it wasn't that much further. That's when I started to hear crunching leaves and snapping twigs near me. I quickly scanned the area and was relieved when I spotted a large buck standing off the trail, partly behind the sycamore tree. First thing that struck me was the rack on this deer. The antlers were super thick and burly, more like moose antlers. Not quite moose antlers. It looked just off. I decided to keep walking and noticed when I started walking, so did the deer. So I walked a little faster, and so did the deer. I stopped, and this deer took off in a full-blown sprint. Something about the way this thing moved was just unnatural. It moved almost like a rocking horse, and its hind legs were in reverse. But how? Were supposed to be. It was very unsettling, prompted me to bust out in a full-blown run to the end of the trail. I am hurling ass down this trail, being fueled by some form of primal fear. I come around the bend, and there in the middle of the trail is not deer. I started trying to backpedal and fell straight on my ass. On the ground, I'm just looking at this thing, and it hits me. This thing is a predator. This thing predator. It's got front-facing eyes. Deer don't have front-facing eyes, but that's not all. That's not all that's wrong with it. Its face, it's not right. It's too round, and it's got huge jewels, and its mouth is far too rounded to be a deer. The snout is far too short, and so much is wrong. I scrambled to get to my feet, but whatever this thing was decided to stand on its hind legs when I stood up. I didn't know if I was challenging it because it too stood up on its hind legs, and it was huge. It towered over me. It had to be over 8 feet tall. I turned around and started running as fast as I could, but I could hear the sounds of bipedal stride close behind me. I never turned around. I was sure if I turned around, it would get me. When I reached the fork in the trail, I could no longer hear it behind me. When I got out of the woods, I started to screaming like a maniac. So my friend Jay came out of the back door with a shotgun. I should mention my friend Jay is a backwoods mountain boy from Cripple Creek. He was native blood in his family. I finally calmed down enough to explain what happened. Jay told me that wasn't a deer. Said in the woods there are a lot of things regular people don't know about, and what I encountered was one of those other things. He said it was up to something, and I disturbed it. That gist of what I got is it's some sort of manifestation of a spirit, some sort of a thing, huh? Very, very fun. We just read there a couple of articles. Could very well have been an alien as well. He could have encountered. Why? Because, well, it feels like it's an alien. It could be like it's just shapeshifted into it. That's why I was reading that article right there, folks. Let me see if there are any other ones we can look at. ATVers encounter rotten human head in rural Philadelphia country, West Virginia. Okay. I could look at that article, but it's not really what we're talking about. Possible cloaked Bigfoot or Glimmerman, Salt Fork State Park, Ohio. Possible cloaked Bigfoot or Glimmerman, or an alien. Could very well be that as well. Shall I look at this article, folks? It's very interesting. And it sounds like we're talking about alien encounters and stuff like that. I also have other articles right here. Let's see. What is it? The real resident aliens. We could take a look at this. Yeah, parts something like that. When she was plagued by extraterrestrial demon from hell. Rosa Amosa is an elementary school teacher. Rosa, a city of Calabria province, Italy, claimed that an extraterrestrial had burrowed into her head and was commanding her to do all sorts of things she could not resist carrying out in the 13th month, 1984, of the tabloid newspaper of American media in Boca Raton, Florida. Well, American newspaper. An article appeared highlighting Muso's travels with a pestering alien titled "Space Alien Takes Over a Girl's Brain." Well, Space Alien titled "Girl's Brain." The article says that in early 1984, the then 26-year-old teacher traveled to the island of Sicily and visited a Catholic priest specializing in exorcism, Father Tadero Tremzo of the Cathedral in Messina city, not far from the Mount Etna volcano. Previous to seeking out the priest, Mercer's mother, Amelia, age 50, had taken her to several psychiatric doctors in Palma and the surrounding area. While some of the Rosa and Moose's neighbors thought she was insane, the medical experts felt differently, speculating that she was only temporarily traumatized due to suffering through some jarring incident in her life that she wasn't ready to discuss with them. As yet, the priest, however, felt differently. After meeting with Rosa, Father Temsko said that she was possessed and had to have an evil spirit exorcised out of her body. Rosa believed that her mental torment was due to carrying a split personality. I wanted to be exercised, she explained to a reporter from the Sun. The girl here, was aware that she, from the Sun, was aware that she was doing all of the aliens from the Sun, was aware that she was doing all, that. Let me go over here, folks. see that like button now. And by the way, folks, if you have not yet, please hit that like button for me. Well, it really helps me fight the algorithm, so more people can see my content. My graphic novels comes out to you all the sooner. As well as please share this video on Twitter and Facebook. Let's see. Was aware that she was. Let's get back to this article. Was aware that she was doing all of the deviant sexual acts that the creature who lived inside her was telling her to do, but she did not have the willpower to resist. Her mother said that this was because, well, the girl is a nymphomaniac. She chases men around and dresses on the street and copulates in public. Sadly, Rose, well, that girl here affirmed that what her mother was saying about her was true. The devil won, she cried, adding that I am his slave. That, huh? To Marina, her daughter's problems began back in 1977 when Rosa was on vacation in Sicily. She felt a pain in her head. She started vomiting, felt dizzy. We thought she'd had a heart attack or a cerebral hemorrhage, but a few days later, Rosa knew what had happened. She heard this voice in her head. It said, well, here I am, and I am taking you over. It was a creature from outer space, from another planet that had burrowed into her head and lived in her stomach. I believe it is really the devil who is living in her. The guise of an extraterrestrial, but, well, the girl says it was really an alien. But right? Really. The mother noted that the creature living inside her daughter had gone, well, the mother noted that the creature living inside her daughter had some, let me redo that. Let's get into this. The mother noted that the creature living inside her daughter had done some things that left no doubt in her mind that it really is the devil. A demon. Once the voice told her to go to a cemetery to find a young man who had been killed by his fiancée. The voice wanted her to see the grave because it belonged to the one had possessed before her. The voice told her all kinds of details, names, ages, things my daughter could never have known. When she got to the grave, she found all of the facts were correct. The mother and daughter seemed to have exhausted every avenue of approach with regard to the dire situation. Well, the first exorcism failed to work, and the mother stated her belief that maybe we should try a better exorcist. Maybe Father Tosmo did something wrong. I think at this point that exorcism is our only hope. That, really? Maybe. Let's see. Maybe there's a weird gal at the office who occasionally gets on your nerves. Now, UFO experts are saying that such individuals, spies from outer space, back in early 1990, back in 90, Brad Stickler, February 19th, February 1936, May 2018, the famous paranormal researcher and author of 100 books on such a phenomenon as ghosts, Bigfoot sightings, and stuff, told a reporter from Global Tabloid the Globe Tabloid, in an interview that took place in Stigler's residence in Phoenix, Arizona, as it published in its 27th February 1990 edition, that space aliens work everywhere, from small businesses to large corporations. By working in ordinary trades and professions, aliens gain invaluable insight into our society. Identify a co-worker, space alien, you must look for behavior patterns and personal habits. The UFOologist Stickler provided a list of 10 ways to which a space alien operates in disguise. Aliens do not understand our style of dress and may wear shorts on a cold day or a plaid shirt with a striped blouse. Aliens display bizarre eating habits, as putting cream in soda or ketchup on toast. Aliens call in sick frequently or are often late. Aliens find it difficult to adhere to a strict work schedule. Aliens do not understand Earth humor, may tell jokes that no one understands. Aliens display intense curiosity. A co-worker is constantly taking notes, or he or she may be keeping a record of her alien masters. Aliens never talk about personal life. An alien may use a screwdriver to open a letter, or try to make soup in a coffee pot. Alien has difficulty in getting ideas across. Alien becomes elated or depressed around machinery. Art Bell, you're not paranoid by now. You haven't been watching. Brown has has literally succeeded. Well, the author Arthur Brown. Well, Brown has succeeded in alienating neighbors in the city of Heritage, Pennsylvania, located in Mercer County, some 60 miles north of Pittsburgh. In an article appearing in the second November 2015 issue of National Examiner tabloid, published in New York City, Brown, then age 78, informed that publication's new correspondent Molly McCarrick, correspondent Melia, that he has taken somewhat drastic steps to deter unfriendly extraterrestrials who had moved into his neighborhood. First, he wrapped his home in a tinfoil to keep the aliens and those under their spell from physically penetrating his domain and reading his mind. Second, he began shining intense spotlights onto all of his neighbors' properties. One of the neighbors living directly across the street, paranoid Brown, in an interview with McCarthy, the then 72-year-old Nancy Rich, noted the years Brown has become a real problem. She then explained that he has a lot of issues of fearing aliens. Little by little, learned that he has thought we were they and that we are the ones that aliens were contacting to get to him. Rich had since become so frustrated with Brown that she put her home up for sale, but no one is interested in purchasing it since they too would probably have to start putting up with Arthur Brown's shenanigans. Arthur, huh? Who wants to buy my house when this Yahoo across the street decides he wants to shine lights on me? Rhetorically asked Rich, adding that I've had a lot of nice couples come look at my house. You can't get a second look until that's cleaned up with the alien lights guy. Another pixelated neighbor, Donna Mission, commented that used to have an alarm that would go off, on and off, and that was very annoying. He finally had to get rid of that. Now his new thing is to come out here and chase you with a spotlight. But why is his alarm going on and off? Though it could very well be that he's just a guy looking for attention as well. But why would his alarm go on and off? In 2015, a judge from Mercer County ordered Brown to take the lights down. He failed to comply. The judge said that he would impose a $500 a day fine. Unfortunately, the alien, fearing defiantly, refused to obey, and as of November 15, his fines have amassed to a total of exceeds $20,000. Since Brown would not comply with his country judge's order, the city of Hemorrhage sought an injunction, get the lights removed. The city manager, Gary Hanks, insists that it's a violation of city zoning ordinance, have excess lighting that adversely affects neighbors' property. Interesting. Very interesting, huh, folks? What was happened there. We could look at other resident aliens and stuff like that, but we looked at a few articles there. Let me go over here and stuff like that. Cloaked Bigfoot or some of that. Should we look at that article maybe, folks? We could. We're talking about aliens, and we looked at that. We had some fun already. We could look at various stuff. We talked about a lot of aliens tonight, but what are your thoughts on this, folks? I'd love to have a few chats about what you guys think about this. I'd love to have your ideas about what you think about aliens and the various alien encounters. We talked about the Tic Tac and what the guy did when he basically saw the alien ship and stuff like that. Having a lot of fun. Honestly, a lot of fun here. Let me get back over here. Put this right there. Yeah. But what do you think these people actually encountered aliens or stuff like that, or the various other things we talked about tonight? We have this possible Cloaked Bigfoot or Glimmer Man, State Park, Ohio. Could very well be another one. Kind of want to look at some more alien stories, actual alien stories. Let me see about here. UFO encounter with alien abduction in Croft State Park. Have I read this one before, folks? Let's take a look at it. My experience is a bit hard to talk about. It literally has changed my entire life and has had a huge impact on almost everything in my life, one way or another, since the event. It wasn't recent. Let me take you back to when this all took place. My name is Lewis. I'm from a small town, South Carolina, called Whitmore. I was born in 1957, so I'm currently 64 years old. I was part of the baby boomer generation in a small rural area. Yeah, I've talked about this article before. I'm pretty sure it's stuff. Let me find a few other. Let me see this. Let me see about this and stuff like that. Trying to find a few more articles. Very interesting what we just talked about, folks. Let me see about this. Let me try this. Humanoid alien encounters. Let's show you if I can't get a few more stories to come up. A very bizarre encounter at Copley Woods in Indiana. Bizarre and spooky cases of pale colors in residential areas. Strange alien abductions of Hillary Porter. A few articles like this, trying to find a few stories. So yeah, but as I've said, we're talking about various alien encounters and encounters with UFOs tonight. Creepy and close encounters of infiltrating kind, creepy and camouflaged. I think we talked about that article before. Strange lifetime of bizarre and spooky UFO and alien encounters. We take a look at this real quick. At least maybe part of it. It's a very long article, though. The world of alien abductions, the UFOs, has many of what are called contactees. These are the rare individuals who, for whatever reason, seem to have been singled out for those inscrutable alien entities for sustained contacts. Such contact can range from the benign to the downright terrifying and can forever change these people's lives in many ways. And such a contactee has chosen to reach out to me personally. Yeah, I think I've read this article before. Let's see, trying to get this right. So I guess I have no choice but to do this and look for a few more alien encounters. All right. We looked at this one. All right. Let's see if I can't get this to do right. This. It's I was hoping that there'd be a way to find these. There's other of these real resident alien encounters and stuff like that. That I'd look at it a bit like this. Oh, by the way, folks, feel free to hit that like button for me, will you? It really helps me fight the algorithm, so more people can see my content. My graphic novel Scumdogs coming out to you all the sooner. Let's see. As well as hit that bell and hit the part of the bell that gives you all future notifications and stuff like that, as well as please go and future notifications for my videos, as well as please hit that. Please also share this video out on Twitter, Facebook, and Gab. UFO encounter and alien abduction in Croft State Park. I could look at that. Let me do this. Possible skinwalker, like that. I think this will have some of the articles, real resident aliens. Let me look at them. Let me go in here. They collect them all in a thing like this, so if I find, should be easier to find. All right, some of these like that. Real resident aliens, another one. On January 1977, contactees from throughout North America were coming together for the purpose of exploring a possible genetic linkage shared with extraterrestrials. This connection with our space brothers, sisters with their Rh negative blood factor, Rh negative. The organization these contacts established was known as the Venus Research Corporation, headquartered in San Lorenzo, California. Corporation sponsors the publication of a monthly newsletter from its very inception, Bloodline, where readers exchange ideas on soundry ideas on concern to the contactee community. And by this story by Maple Royce, she gave the following instructions to fellow members wishing to get in touch with her higher self. You must first relinquish your ego before you can grasp the concept of a universal soul. You can be so wrapped up in your life you are living today that you have no concept of the past or future. You can only receive telepathic communication if your mind can accept concepts from without it. You must be able to alter your way of thinking, to accept alien thought waves as your own. Only the complete submission of self can achieve this. You must be able to sacrifice your original personality to acquire a greater one. No one can change you. You must change yourself. You can change yourself into anything you want to be. So if you just look at yourself, you will know what must be done. No one likes to look at themselves the first time, but once you do, you will have to help change anything necessary. All right. Thousands more were coming to the realization that they were immortal, spiritual beings, higher dimensional worlds, temporarily inhabiting physical bodies, the purpose of learning lessons, eternal value on this planet Earth, a type of cosmic schoolhouse preparatory for the soul's advancement to the realm of light, Royce explained. Once you establish a psychic link with the universal consciousness, any question you will be answered. If you look, you will find the answers. We must ask the previous unaskable, the Rosicrucian, teach about the Rosicrucian. I don't like those guys again, huh? Well, do I like them? Do I don't like them? No. Perspective. Everything is relative. It depends on. If you're wondering what this is, the Rosicrucians are a bunch of religious guys and stuff like that. I can't really say their name, so I'm just going to move on. Everything is relative. It depends on your perspective as if to what you see. Picture a ball game. Everything is relative. It depends on your perspective as to what you see. Picture a ball game going on behind a fenced park. The fence has a small hole in it. If you stand with your eye to the hole, you can see the game on the other side. If you stand back a few feet, all you will see is the fence with a hole in it. Depends on your perspective what you see. Much more on perspective as it relates. There was observation and appreciation of Sunday phenomenon was examined in the various issues with articles of staff writers. Royce, her sister Bonnie Royce, esoteric, Ivan Boyce, and many others with metaphysical leanings, but all sharing the negative blood factor as the role that these individuals will play in the organization and society at large. Mabel Royce wrote, "We hope we can help our people become aware of who they are and learn to utilize their powers. We will gather all the latest scientific discoveries relating to our people throughout questionnaires and surveys. The goal of such investigations," Mabel Royce noted, "will be presenting all of the latest data on UFO contact, Atlantis, Antarctica, Hollow Earth, material messages from space brethren, physicists' predictions on earthquakes and UFO, and helping members of readers explore their true points of contact with the wider universe." The woman here recommended the following books, which can be read in the following 2021, March 18 March. Isaac Asimov's Genetic Code, London, United Kingdom. Isaac Asimov, Living River, London, United Kingdom. Otto and Max Child of the Stars, Greenwich, Connecticut, 1974. Blunt, Helena P. Secret Doctrine, Helena, United Kingdom, Society of Publications, 1888. Holter Hands, UFO Ants, Greenwich, Connecticut, Fusses, 1976. Keel John, Why UFOs, Operation Trojan Horse, New York City, New York, Putnam Sons, 1970. Lindbergh, Allen, Outer Space Connection, Sydney, Australia. All right, a bunch of articles there, a bunch of books you can read about this stuff. As to the ongoing work of the Venus Research and its newsletter Bloodline that was newsletter Bloodline that was distributed free to members, those with Rh negative blood types. Bonnie Mirror put out a request in the first issue that anyone who wishes to donate their help or knowledge in any way you can, we would be most grateful. Just drop us a line and let us know in what way your talents lean. No task is too trivial. We need all of you, whether it is calling in often in your local radio news, talk shows, etc. regarding the native blood. The native blood, Give our address whenever you can. Each person you find will be another that you help save. I will be most gratifying experience. I promise you, any of you who will be in San Francisco in the near future are most welcome and head to get the job done. We must all put together. Clearly, an urgency was felt to locate as many of the Star State seeds as possible. and the other members certainly believed that something would soon be going down that would significantly impact the lives of those with Rh-negative blood types, those having differently extraterrestrial genetic connections. Continued, it would be almost impossible for me to put on these few pages all the things I most immediately want you to know. I want you to feel free to write and ask me questions. I'll answer all inquiries the best way I can. If it's something I don't know, then I will do my best to tell you what you can probably find it. Order to help the seeker better define their paranormal connection, Royce added that if you would like some pen pals, just write state you are most interested in such genetics, UFOs, and hollow earth, Atlantis visions, auras throughout the transference of radionic therapy, cave drawings, ancient astronauts. First, send your name and exact blood type, include an approximate number of how many pen pals you should like to write to, in which case we should appreciate your sending a photocopy of any interesting responses you get and mail it to us. Every strange or amazing tale fits somewhere in the genetic puzzle of life. Royce then explained just how she and other at Venus Research Corporation were, at the Venus, we're going about, the research, we're going to, and attempting to put the sundry pieces of this puzzle together. We are in the process of trying to piece together and prepare ourselves for immortality. Are so many things we could all learn if we had forever to learn. Estimation that forever will be beginning very soon. Are ready for that great and glorious day. The saints, the dead have risen. All things are being revealed, and this, the most important, the master key to the mysteries of the universe, is the one that came from the two, or the fruit children, the olive tree. All right. This cryptic reference to the two gave me some reason I was concerned with, to the operation of the Venus, to the Research Corporation, to operations, insofar as the leaders of Heaven's Gate, the former Presbyterian minister Marshall Applewhite, Nurse Bonnie Nettles, who formed the San Diego, California UFO-based religious, the Heaven's Gate thing in 1974 began to claim that they were, two witnesses described in the book of Revelation and occasionally visited churches or other spiritual groups to seek of their identities, often referring to themselves as the two, the UFO two. They believed they would die in martyrs and then be restored to life and full view of the entire world via satellite television transported into a spaceship. This event, which they referred to as the demonstration, was proved their claims was the Venus Research Corporation. It does sound very similar. Could be, who knows? Being utilized as a recruitment aim for the two, the later-day UFO prophets of the Heaven's Gate cult, UFO prophets. In any event, the first phase of this process is involved gathering of those individuals with Rh-negative blood types. These are the initial ones called apart because of their starseed connections. These are explained further. I'd like to recommend to all of you who are interested in corresponding with the negative or doing your job broadcasting the good news as much as you possibly can. There must be some of you who are night owls nationwide who call into all-night talk shows and give out your post office box number over the air. This is the best way to avoid kooks. Please keep us informed of the brethren negatives you find. Brethren, huh? A list of each month with their names, birth date, blood types, heritage, and address, and if possible, have them send in a filled-out copy of our questionnaire. We are constantly updating the questionnaire. It is constantly verifying life similarities among respondents. For example, recently discovered that exposure to neon lights affects native blood type people by making them dizzy. We are currently trying to determine how many survivors major disasters have negative blood. May you give us some indication as to whether they are being watched over and guarded by higher beings. Also, any of you who are into genetic studies, we found that most grateful for a report on the latest developments in statistics for those experiences the phenomenon known as stigmata. We'd like to know what is the blood type oozing from them. Until next month, this is your sister in blood. We go about this talking about her name. The self-proclaimed goddess was reported the following astronomical information. She was born Bonnie Mare Royce in February 1941 at the Highland Hospital, Oakland, California, 2:22 a.m. Emphasized that she was born under the 6th of the Chinese about that stuff, I think I'll skip that part. Besides articles from the two Royce sisters from California, the Research Corporation's Bloodline newsletter, an interesting piece from their Canadian recent representative of Toronto, Ontario. Boyce was born in Toronto in January 1946 and expressed an intense interest in all matters esoteric and occult. Long before the technology of the so-called medbeds came along, Boyce pointed out that ancient Egyptian scrolls, Mayan reliefs, show what appear to be a womb chambers for the creation. As to the restoration of the technology behind these chambers of antiquity, the Canadian correspondent wrote that though the rediscovered science of rotonics can start with new creations of life forms on this planet very easily just by utilizing the right frequency and several subjects we want to genetically cross, not mess with just cross, but put a negative photo of the two on the plate of the rotonic instrument and broadcast new forms of plants will emerge within no time. Boyce urged those readers who gave thought this to be insanity, at best wistful thinking, to read Joseph Gordon's Magic Science of the Future, City, New York, 1976. The Canadian noted that he had already been able to cure diseases and regrow organs in the body with the replication of rotonics. He also suggested that it might be used to help us regain all of those extrasensory powers that had been lost to us over the centuries through suppression or underusage. To the readers of Bloodline, Boyce asked, are other RH types already creating new life forms on this planet, and how do we explain these forms appearing, such as the flying Mothman in the United States or the Bigfoot? The Bigfoot, another rotonic recreation to show us and these hominids that our extraterrestrial ancestors created us for adaptability to conditions on this planet. Boyce remarks that ancient cultures that were predominantly of the negative blood types, their arts and legends all form of clues as to who we are. The Hittite culture of Central and Western, of Western, the Hittite culture of Western Europe, going back as early as 12th century, displays Martian map designs on its pottery of the Hollis area. Also exists exact in where the equator is, polar areas and river beds on the red planet are located. This letter was only recently confirmed by the Mars probes. How did they know unless they had been or were from there? Romanian pottery, Neolithic age, also shows star maps and migration routes through this, to Earth. The Egyptian texts say that their god, his train, came to the city on the moon. The National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, has already discovered such a space city on the far side of the moon, but is keeping it top secret in the interest of national security. Boyce also explains other anomalies about the moon. The NASA and Russian space programs finds on the moon show that it is artificial and hollow and 4 times the age of the solar system, 20 billion years. It contains structures that resemble those in the methods of Egypt and structures in Peru. Whoever built the moon is a massive spacecraft and put those structures on it. Us also put those in Earth. And they were the RH space colonists, us and our ancestors. For additional information, but the moon is a space platform for launching ships used by the extraterrestrials, observing the evolution of humankind on Earth. Boyce invites the Bloodline readers to check Don Wilson's classic book, Mysterious Spaceship from the Moon. The astute Canadian researcher points out that even as far back as the confirmed age, machine-shaped metal alloy objects and man's footprints have been found, also on the moon, as well by Apollo astronauts. Whoever built the pyramids in Mars and in Egypt, scientists now say the same people who sculpted their face on the Mars, and some of the million mountains here in North America with faces and bodies, who built all of those new ruined places and fabulous temples being discovered all over the floor of the Atlantic Ocean. RH people did. RH? Yeah. And they were space and time travelers. How much further do I have to go here? Okay, here it's not that much further. Let's see. These are only a few things being revealed so far. What about the vast underground cities of the inner Earth right below our feet? New York State, Arizona, the Black Mountains, also Mount Hood. Some of these cities are abandoned, others controlled by Deros or Teros. Here is where we have to explore down and then find out what has been left to us. Ancient legacies of tropic myths state this is to be used by the direct descendants of Odin in the Age of the Wolf. Space Age Aquarius, Bonnie, Mabel, and myself are these direct descendants from family of Bar, which means the same as Royce. Other translations of the name of as the Druids of Gothic Jinn, or those are the race of the Blue Jinn who came to Earth eons of years ago from the stars with the L race, well, with the E, and this is or with this race, and this is a true house of Israel through which the biblical prophets came. They too were like you and I, working Rh negative blood types. Boyce revealed that the leadership of the research corporation was planning an expedition to Hollow Earth from base and from a base and stuff like that, and that other people from whom the leadership of the from other people whom the leadership of the corporation in contact with would soon be presenting to their respective countries' governments, leaders, and United States diplomats a petition to the United Nations granting official recognition for governments in place in the various Hollow Earth civilizations. In the last year, said Boyce, unknown forces have been at work directing things, lectures for me, and expounding inner and Hollow Earth data, drawing those who were experts who were supposed to me, escorting me with North America to lost cities, showing another colleague the secrets of the Northlands and the space cities, Arctic, in space cities of the Arctic, finally the inner Earth people, or should I say space cities Arctic and stuff. Space cities Arctic, I should say. Finally, the inner Earth people came out and said they were responsible. Then I met Bonnie and Maple Royce. Knew I was to meet them. I was to meet them months before. I was told also I would soon go on to the biggest mission yet. This is it. It together, our own people together. Our own people, huh? Rh negative blood, exact bloodlines are random mutation bloodlines. For further Rh negative blood, huh? Yeah. The Canadian admits that he was once in the dark in all these matters before he contacted Mabel, and being skeptical at first. Boyce wrote that as a researcher, I continue to look into all of the ideas, especially concerning Bonnie being the goddess. I think in her higher self, with intense radionic scans and with the help of top psychics, I found out that everything they were saying is true. Well, it was the fondest wish of all those at Venus Research Corporation for all of its members together to work right away and starting to build a new age. It was comforting to realize that each in her own way was hoping their brothers and sisters with Rh negative blood type to find their true birthright among those into whom Otto Binder referred to as the children stars. Well, children, huh? On May 2021, Cosmic Ray received a question about this very issue and the Rh negative blood types, Rh negative blood, their connection with the legacy of interplanetary beings, Earth, and sent to Rob Potter on the promise revealed and the special mailbag from a reader in the Venus Rising books, Elaine, that he forwarded to my email. The following was the Cosmic Ray's prompt response. Dear Elaine, many thanks to your timely question. It was Helena Blavatsky, the co-founder of the Philosophical Society, first postulated in the 1880s, around 18 million years ago. Venusian continent on Earth was responsible for Venetian contingent on Earth responsible for creating the race of god kings who populated the ancient continents of Atlantis and Lemuria. She also claims that interesting. That the Venusian bloodlines carried over into Europe by some of the survivors of their destruction. Today we know their descendants is the Brusques, inhabiting the area of the Pyrenees Mountains, situated on both sides of the French-Spanish border. A recent United Nations study confirms the highest concentration of Rh negative blood group on the planet is being situated in the Brusque region, the Pyrenees Mountains. Brad Stickler, a paranormal researcher of the tradition of the and the tradition of John Keel was the first to point out that those with the Rh negative blood factor possess an encoded extraterrestrial DNA and are therefore the prime candidates for contact by Venetians and other aliens operating on Earth. The last chapter of my Venus Rising book, Gods of Aquarius, and the subtitle Dolores is Orthorn, Dolores, why. Here's why, or well, Dolores is author. Why goes into much greater detail about the actual physical characteristics that differ between persons and their Rh native blood factor, alien component from the general Earth population. Here is this question. Hope this answers your question, huh? Okay, we read that. Not too bad. Not too bad. I think I'm going to end my article. I'm going to end this now. Looked at this right there. Had some fun, I have to say. Looked at various aliens and stuff like that. Now, folks, I'm going to end my video. I'm going to end this. Please go and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Read comics, they're bad for you. The there is misspelled. It's THERE. Make sure you're still subscribed and stuff like that. So also make sure you're make sure to hit that bell and hit the part of the bell that gives you all future notifications for my videos. Leave some comments down below. I love to hear from you guys, and please go and share this video out on Twitter and Facebook. Remember also to go and subscribe to Stitch Together Picks. Stitch Together Picks is a YouTube channel that deserves far more subscribers. It's hosted by the maniacal cinephile who does some great reviews of movies. You're going to love his content. He plays his character with multiple personality disorder called maniacal cinephile, and it's just fun to watch his videos. Go and subscribe to Stitch Together Picks, as well as go over and subscribe to Creepy Little Book. Creepy Little Book is like the Art Bell radio show. He does little videos talking about high strangeness, but he also does live streams every night. On weekdays, he live streams at 12:30 a.m., and on weekends, he live streams at 10 o'clock p.m. He talks about aliens and ghosts, and you learn so much from watching his live streams. Go and subscribe to Creepy Little Book. Also, go and subscribe to Robot Co-op. Robot Co-op is like Mystery Science Theater. Your stuff like Mystery Science Theater 3000. It's so much fun to watch them and stuff. They do these live streams and stuff like that. They're just so much fun. So go and subscribe to Robot Co-op, as well as please please remember, folks, I'll be back again tomorrow on 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock or 11 o'clock p.m. for another live stream. So be sure to come back again. I'm Chris Williams from the Scumdogs Kennel. Thank you all for joining me.